When we're stressed, most people do the two worst possible things, the two things that actually save us. In fact, most high performers handle stress exactly backward. Maybe you're even doing that right now. So now it's time for the actionable advice. Because remember, stress isn't just a feeling, it's a physiological state, and if you don't regulate it, it will regulate you.
The first thing I would advise you to do if you find yourself highly stressed is to protect your sleep. This is not when you want to curtail sleep. When people are highly stressed, the first two activities to go or that get curtailed are sleep and exercise. And from a brain perspective, those are the things you ought to really preserve and protect because they're the two things that help your brain be it physically at its best. So the first thing you want to look at is your sleep. Are you sleeping enough? Should you go to bed a little bit earlier? Has it gotten to the point where you're so stressed out that you're not sleeping well? And do you need to go get a sleep study done or talk at least to your primary care physician? Might you have apnea or suspect you do? The first thing to look at when you get into a patch of your life that's highly stressful, which all of us do, it's inevitable as human beings, you want to do everything you can to protect your sleep or to fix it if it's not working properly for you.
Here's the mechanism most people miss. Your brain is physically changing every day, but you get to decide how.
The second thing is exercise. So again, the first two things to go are the things that really should be the last things to go if you want to operate at your best in spite of the stress. Sleep and exercise are the two most important things in terms of basic brain mechanics that you should be doing for your brain each and every day.
Now, here's what might surprise you about sleep versus nutrition.
It's not to say that nutrition isn't incredibly important. It is. I just mean on a day-to-day basis, if you exercise, you generate neuroplasticity. You boost neurogenesis, which is the brain's ability to give birth to new neurons. If you sleep, it's the same thing. It helps the brain physically be malleable. So day to day, if you want to be at your best, you want to make sure you preserve your sleep and you exercise. Yes, you need to absolutely eat well, fix your nutrition, but you can get by for quite a long time eating crappy food before your brain really starts to show the side effects of that. Whereas when it comes to sleep and exercise, this is more of a day-to-day thing.
Listen, you can grit your teeth for a week, we all can, but we can't grit our teeth for a decade. Eventually, the neurobiology wins.
So sleep, diet, and exercise are key, but when it comes to basic neuronal mechanics, remember the neurons are the cells that make up your brain, sleep and exercise are on a day-to-day basis by far the two most important, in my very strong, highly educated opinion.
Okay, we've covered the neurobiological mechanics, but now we need to look at the environment.
The next thing is all about social support and connectedness. We are a tremendously social species. We evolved in social groups, and we need each other. Even the introverts amongst us, it just may be that they don't need as many people. This is more about quality of connections rather than quantity anyway. So did you know that people who feel that they have a rich social support network, several people they could call in a crisis, they have lower levels of cortisol even at baseline, even at rest, which means they're in a much better position when they have to react to something that's stressful. The same thing is true for optimism. People who are naturally optimistic or who work hard to become more optimistic and positive, same thing, lower levels of cortisol even at rest, even at baseline.
This next part is the thing I wish everyone understood about stress because it actually changes the structure of the brain over time.
The thing that's the most important in terms of what you may not know about stress has to do with relaxation training and ways to tune up this parasympathetic system so that it can benefit you structurally if you practice for long enough. And when we talk about these relaxation trainings, there are dozens of them, and everybody seems to have one that works better for them. So for me, it might be meditation. For somebody else, it might be going on long runs and just letting the mind go blank. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's engaging in the sleep proxies we talked about before, where you just let the brain go offline so that you're not on task anymore. Maybe that's a reflective walk. Maybe it's getting out in nature. But what all of these have in common is you're not on task, and ideally, all of them have a breathing component to them. So as long as your out breath is longer than your in breath, you will be engaging the parasympathetic nervous system. So maybe you'd breathe in for 4 seconds and then out for 6 or 8, or in for 2 if you're really stressed and you can't get much more air than that, and out for 4. The breathing component to this is a sure way to help activate the parasympathetic side of your nervous system. And once you've done that, you cycle back to the brain changes that we've been talking about all throughout the sleep section and now into the stress section, where the brain is more evenly balanced as opposed to being negative and ruminative and latching on to only the scary or threatening or sad things in the environment. So all of these are a way for the body to talk to the brain to talk to the body, and it's this dialogue that goes on, and over time, the entire nervous system wires up in a way that physiologically allows you to respond more effectively to stress without it wreaking havoc on your brain, body, or performance.